All right, let's talk about minimalism. Seriously, when you hear that word, what's the first image that pops into your head? I'm guessing it's probably some stark white room, maybe a single, very uncomfortable-looking chair, and a person who owns exactly 3 black t-shirts, right? Well, that's the common picture. But today, we're going to see how that image just barely scratches the surface of a much, much deeper idea.
So right off the bat, let's just clear the air. This is basically our whole conversation in a nutshell. On one side, you've got the myth, that it's all about deprivation, owning next to nothing, these cold, empty spaces. But the reality? It's so much more empowering. It's about being intentional. It's a flexible tool, not a rigid rule book. It's about making room for what you truly value. See, it's not about having less. It's about making space for more of what actually matters.
So yeah, let's start by officially tearing down that stereotype. We're going to move way beyond the popular image and get right to the heart of what this philosophy is really all about.
And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? The caricature we all know, empty white rooms and owning exactly one fork. It's such a specific and, let's be honest, kind of unappealing image. But that's all it is, a caricature. The real thing is way more personal and so much less rigid.
Okay, so let's build a new understanding from the ground up. This is where we stop thinking about minimalism as a lack of something and start seeing it for what it is, an active, powerful tool you can use to design your life with real purpose. This right here is the absolute core of it all. Just look at this definition. The intentional promotion of the things we most value and the removal of everything that distracts us from them. You got to pay attention to the language here. It's active. It's about promoting value, not just getting rid of stuff. And that leads to this huge insight. It's all about shifting from just, passively collecting things to deliberately curating your life. You stop just letting things happen and you start consciously choosing what gets to be included. You start asking, does this thing, this commitment, this whatever, does it actually support the life I really want to live? It all comes down to that choice.
Okay, so what's the payoff? Well, the first big benefit isn't even about your physical space. It's about what happens up here, in your head. It's the huge psychological reward you get from simplifying your world.
So, let's really think about this for a second. Does your stuff own you? I mean, think about all the time and energy you spend buying it, cleaning it, organizing it, insuring it, maybe even just worrying about it. At some point, you have to ask, does the benefit of owning all this stuff outweigh the cost?
And here's why that question is so important. Our brains are constantly processing our environment. Every single object in your line of sight is another piece of data your brain has to deal with. So, a cluttered room literally creates a kind of constant, low-level static in your head. It's mental noise.
And this isn't just some vague feeling, it's actual physiology. Research has found a direct scientific link between cluttered homes and higher levels of cortisol. That's the body's main stress hormone. So clearing out your space can literally, on a biochemical level, lower your stress. How wild is that?
And all of that leads to these really concrete benefits. When you simplify, you cut down on decision fatigue. Just think about picking an outfit from a closet with only things you love versus one that's just stuffed to the gills. You lower your brain's cognitive load, and that leads to this amazing chain reaction, a greater sense of calm, more mental clarity, and a much sharper focus on what you actually want to do.
Now, beyond the awesome mental benefits, there are also some incredibly practical gains. We've talked about what happens in your head, so now let's talk about 2 of our most precious resources, our time and our money.
This chart just lays out the trade-offs so clearly, doesn't it? Financially, you go from the constant stress of debt and impulsive buys to the peace of mind that comes from having savings. With your time, you trade hours spent maintaining your stuff for more time for hobbies or rest or the people you love. And with mobility, you go from feeling totally anchored by your possessions to having the freedom to travel, move, or even change your career.
And ultimately, it's about what you do with that reclaimed time and money. You're not just saving for the sake of saving. You're freeing up those resources to invest in the things that study after study shows bring more deep, lasting happiness than material objects ever could. Experiences, learning new things, and connecting with people.
So all of this, it leads us to the deepest benefit of all. Because beyond a clear mind and more free time, minimalism becomes a tool for aligning your day-to-day life with your true, authentic self.
Oh, I just love this quote. It's so powerful because it reframes decluttering as an act of self-discovery. When you're sorting through your things, you're not just sorting objects. You're sorting through past versions of yourself. the person you were, the person you thought you were supposed to be, and you're making space for the person you actually are right now.
So how do you actually do it? Well, it kind of boils down to this really simple 3-step loop. Step 1, you have to get crystal clear on what truly matters to you. What are your core values? Step 2, you have to consciously remove the things, and that's not just physical stuff, that distract you from those values. And step 3, you intentionally reinvest all your resources, your time, your money, your energy, back into those values. That's the cycle.
And a huge side effect of this whole process, it's like an antidote to that comparison fatigue we all feel. You know, that constant pressure to keep up. When you know what you value, the urge to buy the next new thing just fades. You're running your own race, not trying to keep up with someone else's.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's bring it all home. What's the ultimate goal here? What are we really striving for with this whole practice?
First things first, it is not about having less. It's not a contest to see who can own the fewest things. Let's just get that idea out of our heads for good.
This is the shift. The goal isn't less. The goal is enough. Enough to be comfortable, enough to be joyful, enough to live a life that really feels like your own without being weighed down by a bunch of excess.
And that is the entire point. You're clearing out the clutter, the physical, the mental, the financial clutter, to create open space. Space for your passions, for your relationships, for growth, for peace, for whatever it is that truly matters.
And that really brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important question, the one at the very heart of all of this. If you suddenly had more time, more energy, and more mental space, what would you fill it with? What would you make room for?